Emily Carter used to be the kind of woman who filled every minute of her life with motion. She was the one sprinting for the subway with coffee in hand, calling out a cheerful, "Hold the door." She had plans, deadlines, dreams, all moving at 100 miles an hour. Then the accident happened. In one terrible instant, her world stopped moving, even as everyone else's kept spinning. 2 years later, the city still pulsed with energy outside her apartment window, but to Emily, it all felt distant, like she was watching it through glass. She lived alone now in a small but bright apartment in Manhattan. She worked from home as a freelance illustrator, turning her tiny second bedroom into a studio. Her days were quiet, sometimes too quiet. Her old roommate, Tara, never let her stay too quiet for long. Tara was loud, dramatic, the kind of friend who meant well but didn't always think before acting. So when Tara called one night and said, "I've set you up on a blind date," Emily almost laughed. "No, you didn't," Emily said, wheeling herself into the kitchen for a snack. "Oh yes, I did," Tara replied cheerfully. "Friday night, 7 o'clock, that new Italian place on 9th. The guy's name is Daniel. He's single, successful, and apparently not a jerk." "You're welcome." Emily leaned on the counter and sighed. "Tara, I appreciate the effort, but I'm not really the blind date type." "You used to be," Tara said. "Before you, well, before everything." Emily's hand froze on the counter. "You mean before I couldn't walk?" There was silence on the line for a beat too long. Then Tara said lightly, "You know what I mean. Just try, okay? You deserve a night out." Emily hesitated. She wasn't sure if it was guilt or exhaustion that made her agree. "Fine," she said finally. "One date. But if he's weird, I'm sending him home with you." Tara laughed. "Deal." By the time Friday came, Emily was already regretting it. Still, she got ready like she used to, curling her hair, applying a soft red lipstick, wearing a blouse that made her feel like herself again. She wheeled herself into the restaurant, heart fluttering. It was busy and warm, filled with the smell of garlic and the hum of conversation. The host smiled politely and led her to a table near the window. She waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. She told herself maybe he was just running late. Then she heard laughter from the bar. 3 men in suits, drinks in hand, talking too loudly. "Dude," one of them whispered, not quietly enough, "you really told her to show up." The tallest of them, dark hair, smug smile, laughed. "Come on, man, it was a joke." Emily froze. The blood drained from her face. They were talking about her. She looked down at her folded hands, trying to keep her composure. The laughter kept going, cruel and careless. Tara's voice echoed in her head. "He's nice. Funny. You need this." Her stomach twisted. It wasn't a date. It was a setup, a cruel joke. She reached for her phone, ready to call a cab, when a voice spoke softly beside her. "Excuse me," it said. She looked up, startled. A man stood there, not one of the three from the bar. He was older, mid-30s maybe, wearing a simple button-down shirt. His presence was calm, steady, the kind that made you want to exhale. "Emily?" he asked. She blinked. "Yes." He smiled. "Hi, I'm Daniel. Sorry I'm late." Her mouth went dry. "You're Daniel." He nodded. "That's me. Tara said you might not believe me." Emily stared at him. "You actually came." He pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. "Well, yeah, why wouldn't I?" She swallowed. "No reason." He grinned, a little crookedly. "Good. Because I'm starving. The beginning. Dinner started awkwardly. Emily wasn't sure if she could trust him, if maybe this was part of the prank. But the more he talked, the more the tension faded. He asked about her art, genuinely curious. She told him she illustrated children's books and designed logos. He told her he was a CEO, but not in a bragging way, more like it was just another part of who he was. He had a daughter, Lily, 6 years old and full of questions. "She thinks I'm the strongest person in the world," he said, smiling. "Which is funny, because I've never met anyone stronger than her." Emily smiled. "Why do I get the feeling you spoil her?" "I plead the fifth," he said, laughing. By the time dessert came, she had forgotten the men at the bar entirely. Daniel made her laugh, really laugh, for the first time in months. When they stepped outside, the city air was cool, the streets slick with rain. Daniel walked beside her, not behind, not pushing, just there. "Can I call you?" he asked when her cab arrived. She looked at him carefully. "You really want to?" He nodded. "Very much." And for the first time in a long while, Emily said yes. Something real. Daniel did call. Every day. Sometimes he asked how her day was. Sometimes he sent photos of Lily's latest drawing or texted a silly joke. They started seeing each other often. Coffee dates, movies, long walks, rolls through the park. Daniel never treated her like she was fragile. He didn't flinch when she mentioned her wheelchair. He didn't offer pity, just presence. One night, he invited her to dinner at his apartment. When she arrived, a little girl with curls and bright eyes ran up to her. "You're Emily," she said. "Daddy says you draw pictures." Emily laughed. "That's right. Want to see some?" They spent the evening coloring at the kitchen table, laughing when Lily decided the cat was secretly a pink dinosaur. Later, when Lily was asleep, Daniel brought Emily tea. "She likes you," he said quietly. "I like her too," he smiled. "That means a lot." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, until Emily asked softly, "Can I ask you something? Did you know about the setup? The joke?" Daniel sighed. "Yeah, I did." She blinked. "You did. I found out a day before the date. Tara's coworkers thought it'd be funny. They dared her to set me up with someone they thought I'd reject." His jaw tightened. "I told her I'd go anyway. Because you deserved someone to show up for you. And because she made you sound incredible." Emily looked at him for a long moment, her throat tight. "You didn't have to." He reached out, covering her hand. "I wanted to." Their relationship grew. Slowly, quietly, beautifully. Daniel took her to art galleries, family picnics, even business events. He never hid her. But one night, a photo of them leaving a charity gala ended up online. CEO Daniel Hale seen with mystery woman in wheelchair, the headline read. The comments were vicious. "He's doing charity work in his love life too. She's probably after his money. Publicity stunt, 100%. Emily read them all. Each word was a knife. When Daniel called that night, she didn't answer. When he came to her apartment, she didn't open the door. Finally, his voice came through softly. "Emily, please let me in." She sat on the other side of the door, shaking. "You should go." "No," he said firmly. "Not until you open this door." After a long silence, she did. He stepped inside, his eyes full of concern. "You saw it," he said quietly. "I saw everything. Then you know people can be cruel. But they don't know us." Tears filled her eyes. "Maybe they're right, Daniel. Maybe you could have anyone." "Why me?" He stepped closer, his voice low but steady. "Because you make me feel like I'm home. Because you make me want to be better. And because I don't care what anyone thinks." She broke then, sobbing quietly as he pulled her close. Reckoning. A week later, Tara reached out. She wanted to meet. They met at a coffee shop downtown. Tara looked smaller than Emily remembered, eyes tired, hands shaking. "Emily, I'm so sorry," she said. "It was a stupid dare. I didn't mean for it to go that far." Emily said nothing. "I got fired," Tara added quietly. "Daniel found out. He said what I did was cruel. And he's right. I wanted to tell you I'm sorry." Emily stared at her, then said simply, "You should be." And with that, she left. That night, she went to Daniel's place. He opened the door, surprised. "Hey," she told me, Emily said. He sighed. "I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. You defended me," she said softly. He nodded. "Of course I did." She looked at him, emotion rising in her chest. "You really mean it when you say you don't care what people think, don't you?" He smiled gently. "I care about you. That's enough." A year passed, and Emily's life bloomed again. With Daniel's encouragement, she opened her own design studio, Carter Creative, specializing in inclusive design for businesses owned by people with disabilities. It wasn't charity, it was empowerment. Daniel and Lily were constant fixtures in her life. Lily called her Emmy, and insisted they draw dinosaurs together every weekend. One evening, as Emily was closing up the studio, Daniel walked in, holding a small box. "Busy day?" he asked. "Always," she said, smiling. He handed her the box. A little something. Inside was a silver bracelet with one word engraved, "Stronger." Emily looked up, eyes glistening. "Daniel." He knelt beside her chair, his expression tender. "Emily Carter," he said softly, "you changed my life. You showed me what real strength looks like. I don't want to go another day without you in it." Her breath caught. "Daniel." He smiled. "Marry me." She laughed through her tears. "Yes. 1,000 times, yes." He kissed her hand, the same way he had on their first night together, the night she thought she was the punchline of someone's cruel joke. But this time, there was no laughter in the background, no pity, no shame. Just love. They married on a rooftop in the city where it all began. The evening sun turned the skyline gold. Lily scattered flower petals and announced proudly, "My daddy's marrying Emmy." When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," Daniel leaned down and whispered, "Told you I was selfish." Emily smiled through tears. "Best selfish decision you ever made." As they kissed, applause and laughter filled the air. The city buzzed around them, alive, unstoppable, just like her. For the first time since the accident, Emily didn't feel broken or forgotten. She felt whole, she felt chosen, and most of all, she felt loved.